Hey guys, Raises here, and today I'm going to be starting a new series on my channel. It's called Reviews with Ray, so what I'm doing for this is I'm going to be reviewing individual episodes of something, or individual videos. So the first episode I'm going to be reviewing today is a really bad one, and that episode is It's a Wishful Life by the FairlyOddParents, so let's get into the video. Like some of the reviews I've done in the past a few years ago on some SML videos, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be going over the plot of the video and the stuff I don't like and like about the episodes like as the video progresses or as the episode progresses here. So this is what I'm going to be doing for like the structure of the video or episode, whatever you want to call. I'm just going to be going over the plot and the flaws of the episode as it goes on. So let's get started. Alright, so the episode It's a Wishful Life starts with Timmy actually trying to be a good person and him trying to do charismatic things. But even though he's doing this, everybody in the town still hates him like they always do. Because the reason why is because he is doing this for so other people like him. He's not doing this for the good deeds themselves. And I actually have a really big problem with this. It's not exactly a really good setup to this episode. In fact, it's a really bad setup because this sets the tone for the whole episode that is about to happen. It sets the tone that everybody's going to hate Timmy and that everybody hates him already, and that's going to be a very mean-spirited episode just from the beginning here. That's really my main gripe with the beginning so far, and from this point, hopefully it doesn't get worse from here. Another thing I have to mention about the beginning, and it is another problem that's going to be happening throughout the whole video or episode, is the characters. And just from the beginning alone, I already hate all the characters. The Fairly Odd Parents themselves, I really don't like them here. They're pretty much just snippy, and sure, you could say that that's their character like in other episodes. But here, they're barely even on screen, and it's just really unlikable. And Timmy Turner's parents, I hate them even more because despite literally what Timmy does, good or bad, they're just going to hate him for it. And yeah, that's really all I have to say with that. So let's move on. After many failed attempts of Timmy trying to please people and make them feel good, and with people like hating it, what he does, this moves on to the next part of the episode, where Timmy wishes himself to not be alive. Well, I have a really big problem with this. It is shown that he is doing this after 3 or 4 attempts. That's really the main reason he's given. He does not have a good reason to actually do this. And because of the plot, it ends up going with it anyway, so after Timmy says that, we get to the biggest problem of this episode, and that is the plot. So what happens, you may be asking? So once Timmy wishes himself to not be alive, it is said that everybody is doing a lot better without him. This is really just disgusting, honestly. It really is just disgusting, even though I just said it, but it is, but whatever. There's no really other words I can really say to describe the disgust that this episode has. It really is just disgusting, and it is a really drone to move on. When Timmy Turner arrives to the new world when he's no longer born, he encounters a person who is going to be helping him realize that his life means nothing to him. And this requires Timmy to make a deal with him. Because everybody's doing better without him, he was going to have to lose his life because he wished himself to not be born. But Timmy Turner made a deal with him, pretty much saying that if he finds someone who has a worse life than him, then he's going to have to get his life back. And after this leads to some of the worst scenes in cartoon history. So what happens, you may be asking? It's pretty much a montage of Timmy going and seeing other people who have their lives so much better. As I said, Timmy's parents was a big example of this. And another big example of this is the bully, Francis. He is apparently doing great, and he's not bullying people, and apparently has fans. Literally everybody in town is doing a lot better than Timmy is. And it's really just sad, and as I said earlier, it's really disgusting. Now let's talk about the ending. Well, the ending is one of the more least bad of the episode, but it is still freaking terrible. So what happens in the ending? So Timmy finally comes to the senses that all he does is makes everyone's lives worse. And apparently that was a test. Well, I'm just going to say this now. This is very contrived. You pretty much knew what the ending was going to be the minute you started watching the episode to begin with. It is very forced, and honestly, when it comes to the overall episode as a whole, I don't think it actually fits the episode. Maybe what should have happened is that, people actually start appreciating him more. Well, then again, that would still be cliche, but it's a lot better than what we got here. And then when he goes back, everybody's lives goes back to what they were before, and that's pretty much how it ends. So it starts pointless and it ends pointless. That's really all I have to say with this. Now let's give an overall analysis of this episode. First, let's start out with the plot. Well, the plot here is really bad. So, as I said earlier, Timmy Turner pretty much wishes himself to not be alive, and when he does that, everybody's lives is better. This is already really bad on paper. Sure, the plot in general is really cliche, but that is the least amount of problems with this. As I said in the beginning, this episode is very, very, very mean-spirited throughout the whole episode, and it is a bore to watch also. And the characters, yeah, they pretty much just ruin this episode too. So the plot is getting a 3 out of 40 for being really bad in almost every single way possible. Now let's talk about the entertainment. Honestly, what jokes are there here? All the jokes revolve around everybody's lives being better than Timmy's when he's gone. So that pretty much just shows why I'm giving the entertainment category. I'm giving the entertainment category a 0 out of 25. There are no jokes here that are funny. There are no jokes here that even cracked a smile out of me. Every single joke here, if you even want to call it that, just fails miserably. Next, let's talk about the characters, and all of the characters here suck. I hate pretty much every single one of them, and all of them are really unlikable. There isn't really a lot I need to say here. Every single character is just really bad, and is really badly written. This is going to be one of the first times I'm doing this, and it gets a 0 out of 15 for characters. Literally no one was good here at all, and no one was at least doing something good. Everybody here was really, really bad. Now let's talk about the pacing, and honestly, well, the pacing here was actually pretty okay. It's really just average. It has some filler, and overall, there isn't really much I need to say here. The pacing here gets a 5 out of 10 for just being okay. It gets a job done. Now for the ending. The ending here is really, really bad. So what happens? Apparently there's some sort of lesson that needs to be learned that Timmy needed to learn, that literally everyone's life was better without him, and that he needed to do good in the world just for the sake of doing good instead of by being noticed by others. I get the lesson, but it was going for, but in the end it failed because all of the characters were just being assholes to one another, and yeah. And it also failed because, well, it's just really contrived. You pretty much saw, like, the ending coming from a mile away. It was forced, it was predictable, and overall, it just failed to do anything. Add them all up, and the overall score of this episode is a 9 out of 100, or a 0.9 out of 10, or a 9%, or an unforgivable category. Yeah, this is one of the worst cartoon episodes ever made, and it is definitely one of my least favorites ever made. So, yeah, it deserves to be in the unforgivable category. And it deserves that 9% it got. So, see you on the next video, and see ya.